All right, today we're jumping into one of the slickest strategic negotiations you'll ever find. Jacob's high-stakes wager to win his own freedom. And look, this is way more than just a story about some sheep. This is a showdown of pure wits, where a servant has to outplay his powerful, cunning father-in-law to build a future for himself. Let's break this thing down.
And it all really kicks off with this single, powerful question Jacob poses to Laban. Think about it. He's 96 years old at this point. He's got a huge family, and he has this sudden realization that all his hard work has been making another man rich. The personal stakes here? They just couldn't be any higher.
So for 2 decades, Jacob's been living in Haran. But right as his long term of service is finally wrapping up, a message shows up. A message from the very land he ran from all those years ago. And it's about to change his entire destiny.
Now, what's so fascinating is who brings this message. It's not just some random servant. It's Deborah, his mother Rebecca's old nurse who's now 130 years old. She's literally a living link to his past, this kind of silver thread of loyalty sent to call him back home.
And just like that, Jacob is completely stuck. He's standing at a crossroads. One path keeps him in Haran, with the family he's built and the master he's served. But the other path, that one leads back to Canaan, back to the home he misses and the promise he was given. He has to make a choice.
So, to take that path home, Jacob knows what he has to do. He has to go face the one man holding his future in his hands, his crafty, calculating father-in-law, Laban. And this is where we find out the true price of freedom.
This timeline here really shows you the whole journey of his commitment. He shows up in Haran, starts his service. 7 years go by. He marries Leah and Rachel, and that locks him in for another 7. Then, finally, at that 14-year mark, his son Joseph is born, and that birth signals that his contract with Laban is officially done.
And this is where you really see the two of them clash. On one side, you have Jacob making a straightforward, totally fair demand for what he's earned. But on the other side, you see Laban's subtle manipulation. He doesn't say no. Instead, he admits that Jacob is the reason he's so prosperous, basically using Jacob's success as the very reason he can't leave.
This whole confrontation leads us right to the climax of the story. We're talking a super tense negotiation where Jacob, who's pretty much backed into a corner, throws out one of the wildest business deals in history.
So Laban, who thinks he's got all the power here, he throws down the gauntlet. Name your price, he says, totally confident that whatever Jacob asks for will just keep him under his thumb. But what he doesn't realize is he just opened the door for Jacob's masterstroke.
Jacob's proposal is it's pure genius. He asks for nothing that Laban currently owns. Nothing. He just says, I'll take the rejects, the genetically weird ones, any speckled, spotted, or brown sheep and goats that are born from this point on. See, he's betting on his own deep knowledge of husbandry, knowing those recessive genes are still floating around in Laban's pure flock. On the surface, it sounds like a terrible deal for Jacob.
And then he seals it with this incredible statement of total transparency. He's basically saying, my integrity will be obvious. You can't ever accuse me of stealing from you, because my entire flock will be marked by the very colors we agreed on. And Laban, thinking he's getting the deal of a lifetime, agrees. Okay, so the terms are set, the deal is done. And right away, the two men get to work separating their assets. They're creating 2 totally separate flocks, and each one is headed for a very, very different fate.
The first thing Laban does is put a full 3-day journey between his flocks and Jacob's. Now, this isn't just a casual separation. It's a calculated, strategic move to make absolutely sure no accidental interbreeding happens. He is locking this deal down positive he's won.
So Jacob hands over his new, kind of small, speckled flock to his sons to manage. And at the same time, the servants who brought the message from his mother, they start heading back to Canaan. Their job seems done. But here's the thing, not everyone goes back.
In this really quiet but incredibly important moment, Deborah makes a choice. She stays. That silver thread of continuity, it doesn't go back to Canaan. Instead, she weaves her loyalty and her wisdom right into Jacob's new, independent household. She becomes this living bridge between the life he left behind and the one he's just starting to build.
And now we get to the resolution. With the deal in place and the flocks separated, Jacob finally reveals his incredible strategy, the one that's going to turn a seemingly raw deal into the foundation of a massive fortune.
Check out this master plan. Jacob uses his brilliant selective breeding technique. He takes these wooden rods and peels stripes into them, and then he places them at the watering troughs, but only when the strongest, healthiest animals are ready to mate. The idea was that what the mother saw during conception would influence the offspring, leading to more speckled and spotted babies. And the best part? These new, strong, multicolored animals all belong to Jacob. He then makes sure the weaker animals mate without the rods so they keep producing plain-colored offspring for Laban.
And the result? It is absolutely staggering, as you can see from this chart. By making sure only the strongest animals produced as wages, Jacob's flock just explodes with healthy, robust animals. Meanwhile, Laban's flock, which is now full of the weaker members, just stagnates.
Over the next 6 years, Jacob goes from a servant to an unbelievably wealthy patriarch. We're talking huge herds, servants, camels, the works. But, a power shift this dramatic doesn't go unnoticed. His success lights a fire of envy in Laban and his sons, and that jealousy plants the seeds for the very conflict that will eventually force him to leave for good.
And that really leaves us with one final question to chew on. Jacob never actually broke the rules of their deal. He just understood them on a whole other level. But when an agreement that seems fair on paper leads to such a massive shift in power, is that brilliant strategy? Or is it just the first move in the next big fight?